Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money, with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 791 of Screw the Commute podcast. This has to be the furthest I've ever departed from straight entrepreneur stuff. Right? Even though it probably will have some entrepreneurial lessons in it, this episode, but I'm going to do a reaction podcast to the historic, and I mean historic song, Richmond, North of Richmond. Now, if you haven't heard this song, as soon as I'm done here, go to YouTube and look up Radio WV, like West Virginia, Radio WV channel, and watch it there. Give those guys some love. This song, of course, will have some controversy, and I'll address that too. It's called Richmond, North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony, and that's not his real name. He's going by his grandfather or his great-grandfather's name, something like that. All right, I hope you didn't miss episode 786 to 790. These are all killer tips if you have to make a presentation or you want to make a speech. So anytime you want to get to a back episode, go to screwthecommute.com/ then the episode number. 786, 787, 788, 89, and 90 are all on presentation stuff and made me a fortune, these tips. And check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. One more thing, and then we'll get into it. Pick up a copy of my automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free, and you will thank me for it. All right. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard a song, or maybe there never was a song that's had such a sudden impact on the world, at least in my lifetime. This song was written by an out-of-work farmer who's suffered from addiction and mental health problems, and he lives in Farmville, Virginia, and he stands out in the woods under a deer stand with his dogs sleeping at his feet, and he writes and sings songs and records them on his cell phone. And he describes himself as a mediocre musician and songwriter with an okay voice. Oh my God, talk about an understatement. Now, I'm a damn busy person, and I must have listened to the song 50 times the first day I heard it. And I'm sure I watched an equal number of reaction videos on YouTube. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to react to the song. And there's tons of them there. I was crying. Lots of other people were crying, and their heads jerked back and their eyes went super wide open when this guy cut to the chase and said out loud what tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of people are thinking, but maybe afraid to say. Now, of course, you had your tiny amount of loudmouth, highly educated idiots on TV, of course, playing the race card and claiming the song was full of dog whistles to white people to even be more racist. These people are effing idiots. And it doesn't even make sense, since the song is totally attacking the mostly white men who run Congress. All right, so they're just stupid morons. Now, in case you don't know your geography, the title says it all. Rich Men North of Richmond. Now, there's no doubt he's talking about Washington, D.C., which is directly north of Richmond, Virginia. I mean, how can these dumbasses on TV not see that? They probably did. But see, to get on certain networks, they have to say outrageous bullshit stuff. And there's nothing even close to racist about the song. The only racist dumbasses are the ones that are claiming it is. And I'll be sure to include them in my next book, Highly Educated Idiots. Anyway, let's get into some of the lyrics. Now, I'm not going to play the song here because I'm not sure of the copyright, ramifications of that. It probably would be all right. I mean, everybody on earth is reacting and replaying the song on their channels, but that's a YouTube thing. So that's not this. But I would rather you give a listen to the channel that helped put it together, which is that Radio WV channel on YouTube. Now, as I'm creating this podcast, their one channel has amassed over 40 million views on this song. Probably 42 or 3 million by the time I get done recording this. It's just going crazy. And the song starts out hard-hitting right from the beginning. Here's the first part. I've been selling my I've been selling my soul, working all day. Overtime hours for bullshit pay. So I can sit here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. Now, I can tell you, my reading of this does not do it justice. In every line of the song, you can see the pain in this man's face as he sings this. It's what's been called an anthem to the working man or woman. And it's quite an anthem, too. The last time I checked, Oliver Anthony's songs held the first 5 spots on Apple Music, which has never happened before. And besides that, the number 1 spot, which he has and is still holding on to, has never been held by anyone ever that was not on the chart somewhere before. This guy literally made history from his farm in Central Virginia. All right, now let's get to the pre-chorus. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, I love this part, for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is, oh, it is. Now, most of us that have been around for a while and remember when crime was crime, that if you did it, you paid for it. When kids could ride their bikes outside, go to the store, and just be back for dinner and play all day. Heck, I remember when gas was 29 cents a gallon. That's how old I am. But let me tell you a little bit more about this guy. His first live performance after the song went viral was at a flea market that normally had 20 to 30 people milling around at any one time. All right. After this song went viral, people flew in to see him. It took 25 acres to park the cars. The crowd was in the multi-thousands. I'm not sure if it hit 20,000 or not. And he stayed for 4 hours to take pictures with everyone and hear their stories of suffering that they're enduring because of the leadership of this country. And guess how he opened the concert? He read a Bible verse to great applause from the crowd, and he always takes his 3 dogs with him. You know I like that. All right, back to the main chorus. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows all they just want to have is total control. Want to know what you think, they want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. I love that line too. Because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to the end because of rich men north of Richmond. Now he's touching the hearts and minds of tens, like I said, hundreds of millions of people who are reacting this song and to him. And I forgot to tell you, the number 6 song on the Apple Music chart was Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town. These elites in D.C. are ignoring the bulk of the country who are struggling to make ends meet, and they're pretty much acting like they don't care or just paying lip service pretending to care. But their actions say something completely different. Recent case in point, Biden vacationing on the beach while Maui burned, and then he shows up for a photo op and pretends to relate to the people because his cat almost burned up in a little tiny kitchen fire. Jesus. And then he went on to a vacation at some billionaire's house. And then remember the thing where he's checking his watch when the dead soldiers were coming back from a botched exit from Afghanistan? Jesus. Okay, back to the lyrics. I wish, oh man, he really hits a hitch in the face here. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and I believe that means like coal miners, and not just minors, like children, on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Oh, man, this guy is an expert at saying something without actually saying it. The island line is pretty much referring to Jeffrey Epstein's island, and the coal, the miner, I believe, is for coal miners. And I suggest also with the Epstein line that this is me. I don't know if he had this in mind, but the protection of the visitor list to protect many of those, guess what, white men. Okay, back to the continuation of the welfare line, which the libtards are jumping all over as racist. All right. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bag of fudge rounds. Oh my God. I mean, he packs so much power. In the one sentence, like for instance, the minors and the minors in one sentence, and just hits you in the face with it. So how can you argue with that? Now, and some people were saying it's fat shaming. Well, listen, I've been overweight my entire life. The only thing that saved me from diabetes was sports and good genes. I can assure you, I paid for my own fudge rounds. I never even heard of fudge rounds, but it fits the song beautifully. And if I were 5'3" and 300 pounds, none of you should be paying for my abuses. Yeah, there's no doubt many people are abusing the welfare system. I'm not against welfare. I'm totally against those that abuse it and those that let it happen. Being overweight is not healthy, and those of you glorifying it are morons, period. All right, now he gets really deep again with these words. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Wow. See, suicides are up with our veterans and young people because they were forced with no legitimate scientific reason to quarantine and stay out of school. I don't know if that's what he means here, but that's how I interpret it, especially when he repeats the chorus. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows all they just want to have total control, want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. It kind of reflects the fact that you know what's going on, but you feel powerless about doing anything about it. And the representatives don't seem to care. And he ends the song the way he started with, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. Oh, man. Again, wow. He struck a chord, and talk about woke. He woke up a sleeping giant of emotion and power of the people. And check this out. The song not only went viral in the USA, number one on and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Apple's Music US, it also was Apple's global top chart, number one. When I watched all those reaction videos, people were crying, relating to the song. I saw rappers, hip-hop people, heavy metal people, blacks, whites, Asians, Indians, all absolutely loving and relating to this song. And guess what? This guy turned down $8 million in a record deal because he doesn't want to fly around in a jet and have 15 tour buses. It kind of reminds me of Susan Boyle, who shot to superstardom on Britain's Got Talent, and then rumor has it she went a little crazy with all that instant fame. Now, another word that's being attached to this guy is authenticity. And there's a famous quote, I don't know who to attribute it to, but it goes like this. The secret of success is sincerity. Once you can fake that, you've got it made. All right. You could just substitute the word authenticity for sincerity in this quote, and it would most likely please the small number of people claiming this guy is a plant or a hoax. Well, if he was a hoax, it would be one of the greatest hoaxes in history. All right. Now, it remains to be seen what Mr. Anthony will do. This has only been a week or so. I hope it's something good for humanity, and he's already done something good for humanity, and for his own bank account, without, quote, selling his soul like he puts in the song, and that he's able to handle the tsunami of attention he's getting. I just love it when the underdog makes good. Now, I'm not him, so I know I'd milk it for all it's worth, but he seems to be a much more down-to-earth guy than me, I think. And I know most of you entrepreneurs would too. $8 million turned down. Wow. Now, Farmville and every other small town in the country should give him the key to the city for giving them a voice. Plus, I hope every person struggling, big city, small city, anywhere, can see that one person can make a difference. And if you all band together, you can make history and send a message to the powers that be that you're a force to be reckoned with. That's my reaction, and good for him.